In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create an oil painting effect using Adobe Photoshop. It's a really simple process, only takes a couple of minutes to do, and it's really good fun. So I'm going to walk you through the process and show you how to do it. I'm going to show you a couple of little tricks as well that will really help you. So the first thing we want to do is we want to convert our image to a smart object. So we just need to come to the background menu here, right click and select convert to smart object. What that will enable us to do is later on, if we want to go back and make adjustments to any of the filters, we can do that. So once we've done that, we just want to come up to filter and then come down to stylize and then select oil paint. And you'll see the oil paint filter will come up and you'll see a preview of your picture. So what we want to do is just click on an area like the eye so we can have a look. We can also magnify out a little bit just to get a better idea of the preview. Now, if you can't see the preview, then you just need to check this little box at the top here and it will give you the preview on your picture. So I'm going to explain what these slides do. Now, first thing I've got to say is that there is an infinite amount of different settings in which you can select with these. These all interact with each other and they will all produce different looks. So you really need to experiment and play with these sliders so you can get the best results and put them to your image. The first one, stylization, that is the length of the brush strokes. So if I increase it, that's going to give me longer brush strokes, and if I decrease it, that's going to give me shorter brush strokes. And you can see there, as I increase that, it's just giving me real wacky kind of final result there. So the clean lines is the smoothness of strokes. So you can see that when we decrease that, that's going to give us more of a textured, more gritty look. And what's interesting is that even though the stylization is at all the way to 10 and our clean lines is down to 0, we're still getting a normal, so to speak, looking image. And the same would apply if I bring the stylization down and the clean lines up. You can see there, we're going to get an image that is not really looking like a painting. So that's why it's important to play around with these settings until you get an effect that you're really happy with. Moving on, the scale is the thickness of the brush strokes. So if I increase that, we're going to get thicker brush strokes. If I increase the stylization and the clean lines up a little bit, that will help. So let me push that up. And you'll see there that as I increase that, you're going to get much broader and thicker brush strokes. And if I bring that right down, you'll see that that will be a smaller brush stroke. Now these two at the bottom, when you change the sliders, the effect is very minimal, but it does have an impact with the top two sliders as well. So the bristle detail is the sharpness and softness of the brush strokes. So if we increase that up, we're going to get basically more sharper brush strokes. And if we bring that all the way down, we're going to get much softer brush strokes. So the idea with this is to play around until you're happy, until you get an effect that you're happy with. Now I'm going to move this to, let's have a look. Let's see, I'm going to bring this down to about 5, 4, and then let's just bring this scale down to 1. I think that looks pretty good. What you can do as well is you can click on the lighting box here, and this will enable you to basically add a light source. Now here where it says angle, you can either go to the numbers here, the actual angle, and you can drag left and right and that will change, or you can click on the angle here. This will basically allow you to select the angle of light, so you can copy where your light source is coming from. So in this case, it's about 45 degrees, so around there. And then the shine is basically the intensity of that light. So as we increase that, it will start to get really wacky and it will start to blow out a little bit, which can look a little bit more like a cartoon than a painting. So usually the lower numbers down here is the best option. And you'll see that on the background there, we've started to get little bits of detail as well. So you can see if I zoom in, you can see there, it's almost like the canvas is coming alive as well. Now you don't have to select that. You can check that off and nothing will happen. It will just give you an option just to do that without it. So yeah, entirely up to you what you want to do. I'm going to leave it a little bit in. So once you're happy, press OK, and that will then produce the smart filters layer there, and you can see where it says oil paint. You can double click on that and it will bring up this dialog here again, our oil paint filter, and we can then go back and make adjustments. So the one thing that I want to do is I want to bring out some of the detail in the dog. I don't want it all to look like a painting. So for instance, the eyes are looking a little bit weird. The dog looks a little bit spaced out. The nose looks a little bit funny as well. Maybe that line in the mouth. So what we can do is duplicate this and then just take out that effect. So to do that, click on the top layer that you've got there, click onto it, hold, drag it all the way down to the plus sign, and that will just create a duplicate copy. You can see up here it says layer copy. So what we want to do is come to where it says oil paint, double click on that. Now what we're going to do is just address these eyes. So let's bring this stylization down, and let's bring the clean lines down to about there. So that's looking a little bit more realistic, isn't it? So I'm going to say OK to that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create a layer mask. So I'm going to come down to the bottom here, and there's a couple of ways you can do this. You can hold the Alt or Option key down and click on the layer mask. And what that will do is give you a inverted layer mask, so you can see it's black. The other way to do it is just to click on it and then invert it that way. So you can right click and then select invert, and it will invert the layer mask. But that's the easiest way. Now what we want to do is come over to our brush tool. So select the brush tool, make sure that we're on white. So you can just click these arrows here, and if you've got a different color, you can click on it. So say it's red, for instance, you can click on it and then just drag it all the way to white and say okay. Come up to the brush, make sure the hardness is at 0 and the opacity and flow are at 100, and then what we want to do is just start painting that in. So what this is going to do is going to reveal this layer here that we just added, and within that layer we actually dropped that effect. So we're going to get back the eyes. They're going to be normal eyes, if that's what you call normal. So you can take your time with this and just really pick out some details, and I find that this just helps bring the picture alive a little bit. So I'm going to also just go over the nose as well, because I want to get that detail back that the dog's got there. That looks pretty good. It's better. And then same with this line here where his mouth is. I'm just going to paint around, and you'll see that this can help with the actual fur as well. So it actually brings back some of the detail in the fur. So if you wanted to, you could go over some of these whiskers here. You could paint over them and just bring them back. And again, that can be a really nice touch. Just a little bit of hair here and there like this can just help bring it alive and make it look like it's in between a photo and a painting. So it's not a full-fledged painting, so to speak. You can see what that's doing there. It's quite nice. So it's a really, really good, fun process. And like I said in the beginning, them sliders will give you different results. So you've got the option there to go back and to play with them and adjust them to whatever you want to get a particular look. So let's have a look at that then. So that's the finished product. So there's the before, and if I just take a snapshot there, so that's the before, and then that's the after. That's what we've just done earlier. Here's another one that I've done earlier. It's a little bit smoother, you can see. Same with that one there. But you can see there that that's quite close as well. So that's the before. That's what we've just done now. So you can see them little subtle differences is around the nose and stuff is quite big, and that's just them sliders. So it's relatively simple to do, and yeah, you'll get a really, really nice finish. And if that's printed, you could print that on textured paper, and you'd get this sort of bump effect, I suppose, on the actual image, and it can look really, really nice. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.